What's going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com here with your Week 12 college football breakdown. We're going to be talking about 7 college football games going down on Saturday, November 16th, 2024. If you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. Let me know your college football picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games that I love, head to Pickdawgz.com, click the Premium Picks tab at the top of the page. And I have plenty of stuff for you guys at Pickdawgz Premium this weekend, but we'll get to that later in the show. But here we're going to be talking about 7 college football games. It is a very tricky card this week. A lot of landmines, a lot of narrative situations that you got to kind of read into. You know, what teams are playing for, motivation factors, and so on. We're going to be talking about a couple of those different kinds of scenarios here, but I'm not going to make you guys wait any longer. You guys know the drill. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's get into it. Our first game comes to us from Outworked Stadium, as you've got the Liberty Flames visiting the UMass Minutemen. This one's going down at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Liberty, a 14.5-point favorite. Total set at 51.5. And, you know, this is just, I think, a brutal spot for Liberty. You know, Liberty can still win the Conference USA, title, or they can at least make the Conference USA title game. You know, they've got games coming up against Sam Houston and Western Kentucky, 2 teams that they are currently behind in the Conference USA standings. But that leads me to say, what motivation does Liberty have here? I mean, this is a brutal sandwich spot. You got 2 massive conference games coming up that are going to decide the rest of your season, and you have to play a sandwich non-conference game against a lowly UMass team that's just, playing for pride at this point. And I just, like I said, I just kind of wonder where Liberty's heads are going to be at in this game, if they're going to potentially get caught looking past UMass here. This is a UMass team that is, in shambles. They lost Tyson Fomachan for the year, so now they're going on to a backup quarterback. But like I said, I don't trust Liberty in this spot. I've always thought coming into the year that Liberty might have been a little bit overrated. There was a lot of clamoring that they could be the team to represent the group of 5 in the college football playoff. For me, it was just, there was too much of a soft schedule playing in Conference USA for that to really happen. So I still think Liberty is a little bit overrated here, overvalued. I'm going to take a shot on UMass here, plus the 14.5. Now we head to Navy Marine Corps Stadium for a matchup between Tulane and Navy. This one's going down at 12 p.m. Eastern. This one's going down on ESPN2. And, Navy got back on track last week, a 28-7 win over South Florida. But I'm still concerned that Blake Horvath's hand isn't healthy. And, they just took advantage of a South Florida team that just came out flat in that game. This is a Tulane team that still has an outside chance, albeit a slim one, at making the college football playoff, because their 2 losses were to Oklahoma, which, as the season progressed, didn't look like a great loss, but only a 7-point loss at home against Kansas State. It's a really talented Tulane offense that's still going to be playing in a high-level bowl game, whichever route they go. But it's also a Tulane team that can move the ball on the ground. For a team like Navy, who sees the option so often, at practice, they really struggled at stopping the run this season. 156.3 rushing yards allowed per game, 81st in the country. And while the numbers are a little bit shorter in the last 3 games, I still think Navy's going to have trouble stopping Tulane here. The Green Wave are just running downhill at this point. And this is also a veteran Tulane defense that's seen plenty of the option in the past. So I don't think it's going to be a shock to Tulane's system at all here. I think Tulane finds a way to get the job done and win this one by at least a touchdown. I'm going to take the Green Wave. Now we're heading to Memorial Stadium in Champaign, where the Illinois Fighting Illini take on the Michigan State Spartans. This one's going down at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. This one's going to be on FS1. And I've said it for a few weeks now that I think that Illinois might be the worst 6-3 team that I can remember in recent memory. Now, sure, a lot of their struggles have come on the road, where they are 1-2, but they're 5-1 at home. But look at some of the teams they've had to go up against. They lost against Minnesota last week. They beat Michigan, great, at home, a Michigan team that just doesn't have any quarterback semblance, play to speak of. You almost blew it against Purdue, giving up 49 to a Purdue offense that's been dead for much of the season. You beat Central Mich, you beat Kansas, you beat Eastern Illinois. Cool. Michigan State, yeah, this is not a spectacular Michigan State team, but this is a Michigan State team that plays hard. This is where I like getting Jonathan Smith in the underdog role. He excelled as an underdog when he was at Oregon State. And this game, I think, means a hell of a lot more to Michigan State than it does to Illinois, who have already clinched bowl eligibility. I know it's senior day in Champaign, but Michigan State is still coming out for a bowl game here. if they can win this game and then win next week at Purdue, they clinch it without having to worry about it in the final game of the season against Rutgers. So I'm checking out of my relationship. If I haven't already, I'm checking out my relationship with Illinois. I think I'm taking Michigan State here, plus 2.5, and putting a little bit on the money line as well. Now we head to Falcon Stadium for a matchup between the Oregon State Beavers and the Air Force Falcons. This one is going down at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Oregon State a 3.5-point road favorite, total set at 45, and the Oregon State Beavers for me are just broken. And this is a bad situation for them to be in. I mean, you've got a new, offensive coordinator and a quarterback that doesn't fit that coordinator system. You've got an Oregon State offense that's missing their best running back in Jam Griffin, and now you're seeing Anthony Hankerson start to break down because of the increased workload with Griffin out of the lineup. And now you face an Air Force defense that's stronger against the run than defending the pass. And not only that, this is an Air Force defense Air Force offense, the option offense, that is something that Oregon State's not used to seeing. Like I said, I think this Oregon State team is just absolutely broken. It's not like Air Force has stopped competing. I mean, they beat Fresno State last week outright as sizable underdogs. They covered against Army in the rivalry game. So I'm going to take Air Force here. I think that, like I said, until I see that Oregon State can put it all together and really put together a strong performance once again and show me that they actually want to play in a bowl game, because there's still a possibility for them to get bowl eligibility, I'm going to keep going the other way. I'm going to take Air Force here plus the 3.5. I'll put a little bit on Air Force money line as well. Now we head to Notre Dame Stadium for a matchup between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Virginia Cavaliers. This one's going down at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Notre Dame a 23.5-point favorite, total set at 50.5. And you're going to hear the word style points a little bit the rest of the way as we finish the breakdown, because there are a couple teams we're going to be talking about that need to win with style to impress the college football playoff committee. Notre Dame did find themselves in the playoff field at the last reveal earlier this week, and we backed Notre Dame last week against Florida State, not because Florida State was a bad team. I mean, that was part of it, but because Notre Dame needs to be able to take advantage of spots when they can get them to really get themselves some brownie points. And mainly because Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference championship game, being an independent. We'll have to see if that changes down the road, if they decide to go the route of conference affiliation. But for right now, it is what it is. And I think that Notre Dame's going to keep pouring it on here. We've seen Virginia pick up some decent wins. Last time out, they beat Pitt 24-19 as 7.5-point dogs. They were able to get covers against Clemson and Louisville. But prior to that, their best wins were Boston College, Coastal Carolina, a 1-point road win over Wake Forest. It's going to be hard for me to envision Virginia keeping up here. Notre Dame, the last two games that they've won by 49 and 37 against Florida State and Navy. They beat up on Stanford 49-7. They have also an 18-point win over Georgia Tech. For me, Notre Dame is just a better team with motivation in their back pocket here. I think that they use it to beat up on Virginia here. I'm going to take Notre Dame laying the big number. Now we head to Gerald J. Ford Stadium, where the SMU Mustangs take on the Boston College Eagles. This one's going down at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. SMU laying 19.5, total set at 54. And you heard me say the word style points with Notre Dame. You're going to hear me say the word style points with SMU. This is an SMU team that has found themselves just on the outside looking in a couple of the recent college football playoff reviews and reveals. And now I think SMU's got to make a statement, because last time out, they had their bye week, so they have a week to prepare and rest up. But we've also seen SMU, they blew out then undefeated Pitt 48-25. They have wins over Duke, Stanford, and Louisville on the road in conference play. They beat up on Florida State. The lone loss that they have, which is starting to now look like a better and better loss as the days progress, is that 3-point loss to BYU at home. Now, granted, it was a game where they were 12.5-point favorites, but again, I don't think at the time we knew how good BYU was going to be over the course of the season. There's also that debacle in the opening week where they were laying 27 against Nevada and only won by 5. But I still think that this matchup is SMU's to lose. Boston College making the change from Thomas Castellanos to Grayson James here at quarterback. I think that is a significant downgrade. I can kind of understand why Boston College did it, because the offense has kind of been stagnant in spots with Castellanos, but it's not his fault that Boston College was giving up points like it was going out of style. And I think that SMU's offense is going to be able to take advantage. But I don't know if Boston College is going to be able to break down this SMU defense enough to sneak in the back door here. So against a fully motivated SMU team, I got to go with SMU to win this one by margin to give themselves some more brownie points to the playoff committee. Our final game comes to us from Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, where South Carolina takes on Missouri. South Carolina laying 14 points here, total set at 41.5. This one is going down at 4:15 p.m. Eastern on SEC Network. And I'll say this first about Missouri. I came into the year thinking that Missouri, I had put down a bet on them to be the winner of the SEC. I was dead wrong about that. But I will also say I don't want anyone to read into last week's win over Oklahoma. That was a game that Missouri out and out deserved to lose. But Oklahoma was doing Oklahoma things and gift wrapped the Missouri Tigers an early Christmas present. I mean, you look at Oklahoma, they had a 95% win expectancy with less than 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Missouri tied the game with a passing touchdown from Drew Pine, and then a scoop and score from Missouri in the final 30 seconds to be able to win that game and just stun Oklahoma. Let's not forget this, though, that this is still Drew Pine at quarterback, and this was a Missouri team that last week averaged just 278 yards of offense, 135 rushing yards on 46 carries. So, less than 4 yards per carry there. And now you're taking on a South Carolina defense that's been outstanding, one that's been able to battle South Carolina's been able to battle Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU. Their losses to Alabama and LSU came by a combined 5 points. But I'm also not trusting South Carolina offensively to do a whole lot, even though they have improved the offense in recent weeks, because I still think that this is still a bit of a one-dimensional offense. I'm not a big fan of the South Carolina Gamecocks, but if I had to pick between these two, I'd rather have Lenore Sellers than Drew Pine. So if I'm having to lean towards the side, it would be towards South Carolina, but I think the better play here is the under 41.5. I just think Missouri's going to get stifled here, and I think South Carolina takes advantage. So it can be the under to round things out. That's it. That's your Week 12 college football breakdown for Saturday, November 16th, 2024. Again, if you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. Make sure you let me know your college football picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, again, you can head to pickdawgz.com. Click the Premium Picks tab at the top of the page. Going to have a ton of action on Saturday. Whether it's college hoops, college football is going to take center stage. But this is a great time to jump on long term because NFL is on Sunday. Got some NBA mixed in as well. The NBA Cup is still on Friday as well. So tons of action on the board for me this weekend. And more often than not, those 3-day and 7-day passes are actually less than buying each of Saturday's daily packages individually. And the month pass, I think, is only like $100 more. So you can do whichever you will. We make money for everybody regardless of what you do, whether it's a daily package or long term, whatever. The long term just gets you the most bang for your buck. But whatever you choose to do, if you go to Pick Dawgz Premium, remember use that promo code PICK at checkout for an additional 15% off your purchase. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon.